Hey, Big Brother fans, in my last video, I said no way was Vince going to renom Lauren, and I got to eat my words because holy cow, Morgan has gone and done a thing. It is official. The mistress got Vince to dump his work wife, Lauren, for her. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I'm going to talk about how Morgan made it happen. Late on Sunday, Vince finally and completely caved to Morgan. Maybe it's because she slept in the HOH bed with him and he got to cuddle her calves and ankles, but Vince has flipped. Click subscribe if you're not following the channel. Let's get into the mess and the madness on the feeds. We're going to talk about something from production, more Ava and Kelly insanity, then Vince forced into the corner, the threats Lauren made, and what happened at the veto ceremony. Lots to talk about. First, if you've not seen, Big Brother is unapologetic about White Locust, and they said the twist was done to remind the house guests and fans expect the unexpected. What bothers me more was the HOH after that, because there was not an HOH comp. Lauren was basically handed that HOH. Not everybody eligible for HOH got to play. Comps should be sacrosanct. Production, to me, failed on the HOH portion of that. The twist to eliminate a player, fine. The HOH comp should always have integrity. Next, more awfulness from Goodwill Gertie and the Anstigator. I'm going to lay this out here. I'm tired of adults acting like toddlers in this game. Kelly said, funny you haven't had a panic attack since Rachel left. Ava says, you're so effing right. I haven't had a panic attack since that chick left. This bish gave me heart palpitations. You know, if BB12 or BB13 Rachel was in the house, that's one thing. BB27 Rachel is the light version mellowed by motherhood. But back to these alleged panic attacks. I've seen fake tears and tantrums, not a panic attack. She is lying. I started having panic attacks out of the blue about 6 years ago after some too strong antibiotics messed me up. I legit thought I was having an actual coronary the first time it happened. Panic attacks are terrifying. You can't breathe. You can't function. You shut down. Sometimes you black out. So when I hear girls like this going, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack, I'm just like, no, you're lying. Shut up. You're being performative because something didn't go your way. If Ava had a real panic attack, I think we'd have seen it. They're pretty much catastrophic if you've ever had one. And I don't wish one on anybody. So Rachel just pressed on her comfort zone. That's it. There should be questions on the BB application like, are you fully potty trained? Do you need a security blanket and pacifier? If you answer yes, maybe, or I don't know, that's an automatic DQ. Stay your week ASS home this summer. These people were looking for a 12-week resort stay with a 6-digit paycheck at the end. No. So I also like to imagine a world with Kelly and Ava in a house with evil Dick or Josh Martinez. They would self-evict before Dick or Josh even pulled a pot out of the cabinet. This is the most weak and lame casting I've ever seen on any season of Big Brother. I don't know what barrel of wussified humanity they dipped these people out of. Most of them. A whole lot of these people are just must be living bubble wrap life outside of this house because they can't cope inside. So just got to be recruits. I mean, can you imagine them in the pressure cooker and keeping Rachel's name in their mouths with profanity because she's living rent free in their heads and in the BB27 house still is just over the top. Yesterday, Ava told Kelly and Ashley, I'm relying on America's favorite and that bish ass Rachel took it away from me. Well, I thought Ava's Renaissance Fair pirate hooker hobo outfit was supposed to win her AFP. And if Ava just came to play for AFP, you know, be less awful or just stay home because that's not the prize you're supposed to be playing for in this game. Speaking of whiny babies, Vince told Morgan he's struggling and he needs to tell her something. But then Vince said he'll tell her when it's October. They can talk about it outside the house. And then he tells Morgan, you're not going to like it. That was on Sunday. I don't know if Vince is going to just propose while admitting he's homeless, jobless, and the only thing he owns are a couple of beanies and some mustache wax and a flat iron. I do know this, as a woman, don't tell me you got something to tell me and that you're going to tell me later. Vince would push all my buttons. That's like, hey, we need to talk. Let's do it in 3 weeks. Morgan didn't press him. So I'm guessing she doesn't want to know what it is, because if that was at my house and my husband said it, I would have nagged it out of him in 35 seconds. So I think Morgan is scared that Vince is going to dump Kelsey and propose, as if Vince's girlfriend is still lurking. I'd like to see Kelsey at finale night walk up to Vince, rip the stash off his face, kick him in what I assume are minuscule testicles, and just walk off. I think Morgan's playing him. I don't see her moving Vince into her gamer den to mooch off her. So we'll see it on Wednesday. But Lauren asked Kelly, what was your zing? Because Lauren forgot. And OMG, Zingbot made basically a casual observation, a statement of fact more than a zing. Kelly said, Zingbot said she makes the house guests uncomfortable and that she's creepy. I will die if Zingbot used the word creepy after I made the growing up creepy reference. Also, Lauren said if she's sent to jury, she's going to be unfiltered and fully reveal herself since there are no cameras there. So I guess she's awful. That's my only assumption. Also, Vince was sitting drinking PBR, getting tipsy, and was telling Morgan that Ashley made a joke that he's about to be evicted from his relationship, which is funny as heck, but really bothered him. All right, now to the holy cow, she really did it moment. Morgan convinced Vince to renom Lauren. That was Sunday night when she finally broke him down. The final deal was Morgan would use her POV on Ava. She'd come down. Vince would renom Lauren with the guarantee that she is not evicted. And Vince was cam talking and saying renoming Lauren was risky, but it'll pay off. He'll do anything to win. And then Vince lied to Keanu and said if he's on the block Thursday, he'll break the tie to evict Lauren and save Keanu. Big lies. Honestly, Vince should evict Lauren in any tiebreaker because she is 100% coming for Vince if she survives her first time on the block. So later on Sunday, Morgan made Vince rehearse the veto ceremony. Morgan was coaching him like a DA with a prosecution witness. She says, since I have used my power of veto, Vince, you now have to name a house guest as a replacement nominee. And then Morgan says, okay, now your part. And Vince laughed and said, I don't give a heck. Take this, Morgan. Ashley, have a seat. And the look on her face, Morgan says, I'm smiling because I know you're joking. And then Vince immediately goes, I would never. So Lauren spent Sunday kind of talking crap and getting steps in the backyard, talking about Jury House and how she's going to act in there instead of working on Vince to stay. Finally, Sunday night, she went up and Vince is trying to tell Lauren her going on the block is a good thing. It's going to further both their games if she stays. Vince said if. But then he told Lauren, based on the numbers, that he's seeing Lauren will stay, and she's crying to Vince, no, Morgan's going to send me home. She's whining. Vince says that Morgan doesn't have that power. She's just one person. And Lauren's all whispery in her tears. She does. Tells Vince, I can't go on the block, and tells him she never would have put him up. This is kind of karma. Lauren shouldn't have ever put Morgan up. I don't know what she thought she was doing. So Lauren asked Vince, really whiny, 5 times, why? And he said he didn't want to renom her. And then he tells Lauren that they told him to renom Lauren or he's throwing away his game. They. You can blame anything on they, right? Vince fully blaming this on others and said they have to break the streak of Lauren not being on the block. Even after the tears, though, Vince told Morgan, use the veto on Ava, I'll put up Lauren, and then he's begging for a hug. Says, can I have a hug? I'm not fighting with you. And he's reaching his hand across the bed, just reaching for her, hoping for her to touch his hand, and she's just all stoic. And then she finally caved and reached out and touched his hand, and that was it. Yes, October is when Vince is going to propose to Morgan. And somebody on X had the best smush name for Vince and Morgan's cheat mance. I've seen a lot of people calling them Vorgan, very goth vampire. This one on X wins it for me. Bravo side chick said, call them Venmo. And I love that because that's exactly how Morgan is going to have to be sending Vince his allowance if she hooks up with him after the game. All right, let's talk about the final minutes before the veto ceremony on Monday. So Morgan was sticking very close to Vince, who seems at this point totally smitten. he was moving the hair off Morgan's neck and just casually tying the back of her dress. To me, that's casual intimacy, people. Then she left the HOH for a few minutes, and Keanu and Kelly came in and were sitting on the sofa. Morgan came back in and steps really close to Vince and is like putting her hand on him and was saying, "Oh, you're alone." And then she saw them and she kind of like steps away and she's awkwardly like, "Oh, hi." Just like the whole caught look. Plus, Ava and Keanu got into an argument over who got to talk to Vince and Morgan. And Vince and Morgan were in the bathroom, and Keanu just closed the bathroom door on a very angry Ava. And he was talking to them while Vince was freaking flat ironing his hair. Keanu's locks are not scary. Vince flat ironing his hair, much scarier to me. And I wonder, does he have a tiny little flat iron for the mustache? I'll keep an eye out. Anyhow, Keanu told Vince in a perfect week, the noms would have been Lauren, Ava, and Kelly. Morgan wins veto, and noms stay the same. But Keanu blamed Lauren's succubus magic on why he's on the block. I am dead with the dungeon master calling out the succubus, especially with the other succubus in the room, Morgan. Also, pre-veto ceremony, Lauren was definitely trying some last-ditch efforts and tears to stay off the block. She and Kelly were talking to Vince, who said Lauren and Kelly are the best ones to beat Keanu. Kelly started pressing Vince, why doesn't he renom Ashley? And Vince says she's a SHIT competitor. Lauren, crying to Vince, he's choosing Morgan over her and that she's taken over his HOH. Lauren's not wrong. I think she's upset, though, that she didn't get to take it over. Vince insists that Morgan will not vote to evict Lauren and tells her that Morgan promised not to. Lauren doesn't believe it. Ashley also promised Vince the same, said she would vote to evict Kelly, but we all know Ashley actually wants Kelly at final two. So we'll see how this vote actually goes. Lauren told Vince, I think on Sunday, and she may have repeated it on Monday, that if she stays, she is going to put him on the block if she's HOH, because she'll look stupid if she doesn't, and then so many succubus tears. The issue is, I think Vince has realized if Kelly, Lauren, and Ava all stay, they control the vote. So the feeds went down, and when they came back up, well, Vince had gone and done it. Morgan used her golden power veto on Ava, and Vince did indeed renom Lauren, who is, of course, very petulant about it. She was up in the HOH room with Vince saying that the one thing she had was she was never on the block and blah, blah. And Vince is like, no, people are just intimidated. And he's talking about her ethical gameplay, all this. Bottom line, Morgan is feeling like the mistress who got Vince to leave his wife. Lauren, of course, is hoping she'll stay. But I mean, honestly, Vince would probably be better off if Lauren were evicted. There is a double coming Thursday, and Morgan and Vince may be sat together on the block, depending on who wins, because they're a twosome and you got to break them up. As it stands, if everybody sticks to their word, Morgan and Ashley vote to evict Kelly, and so would Ava, assuming Keanu won BB Blockbuster. If Kelly won the Blockbuster, I'm guessing Vince will press them to evict Keanu over Lauren. Ava would absolutely vote to evict Keanu over Lauren because she hates him. If Lauren wins Blockbuster and it's Keanu versus Kelly, could go to a tie. Vince would be smart to chuck Kelly out the door in that case. I'm sure Will and Rachel would prefer Kelly stays this week so they don't have to deal with her and her bugs in the jury house. Keanu would probably be the better and more fun social option for them coming to jury, but I know Rachel's hoping Keanu will make it further in the game, and she was hoping to see Kelly next out of the house, but instead she got Papa Will. One last thing. On the Emmy red carpet, Jeff Probst was asked if Rachel could get a CBS reality trifecta and get on Survivor, and Jeff said, well, first she's got to apply. She's got to want it bad enough to send in a 2-minute video and say, this is why I should be on. But Jeff said, yeah, she stands a really good chance.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.